I just don't feel it anymore. You don't excite me. That's what she said. Not in a fight. Not in some heated moment where people say things they don't mean. No, she said it in the calmest voice I'd ever heard her use, like she was ordering coffee. Like the words weren't going to gut me. We were in the kitchen. A Tuesday night. The overhead light buzzed faintly. I was sautéing onions for her favorite pasta. She was scrolling on her phone, glass of wine in hand, sitting on the counter like she always did when we cooked together. Except this time, she didn't look at me. I paused, wooden spoon in hand. What do you mean? She didn't blink. I mean what I said, Mark. You don't excite me anymore. I feel like I'm married to a roommate. A reliable, helpful, completely unsexy roommate. I wish I could tell you I got angry. I wish I shouted, threw something, made her feel the weight of what she'd just said. But I didn't. I just turned off the stove and leaned against the fridge. Where's this coming from? She sighed. That long, theatrical kind of sigh that made me feel like I was the problem for even asking. I've tried, okay? But I need more. I want someone who makes my heart race. Not someone who reminds me to pay the water bill. That's when it clicked. The nights she came home late and smelled like perfume that wasn't hers. The weekends she suddenly had book club, even though she hadn't finished a single book in months. The way she didn't flinch when I touched her anymore. I knew, but knowing and hearing it out loud, that was something else. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there next to her, watching the ceiling, while she snored softly, peacefully, like nothing had changed, like she hadn't just set fire to our marriage with a single sentence. 2 days later, I got a text from her sister. Emily, hey, wanna grab a drink? Just need to vent. Amanda's been a real piece of work lately. I almost ignored it. But something in me, maybe the part that was still searching for proof that I wasn't crazy, needed to hear what someone else saw. So I met her. She wore her hair in that careless braid she always used when she was mad or stressed. Same wine-stained lips, same eye roll when the bartender flirted with her too long. She didn't hold back. She's different lately, right? She said, sipping her drink. I told her she was being cruel to you. You've always been there for her. Always. I nodded. She said I don't excite her. Emily's jaw tightened. What does that even mean? You're not a fireworks show. You're her husband. I didn't plan what I said next. It just slipped out, raw and quiet. I think she's cheating. Emily didn't deny it, didn't gasp or defend her sister. She just said, yeah, I thought so. And just like that, something shifted. Between us. Not attraction. Not yet. But a kind of shared silence that only forms between two people standing at the same edge of a cliff, looking down at the same wreckage. Over the next few weeks, we talked more. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long drives where neither of us wanted to go home. It was dangerous, not in the sense that we were doing anything yet, but in the sense that we could. I should have drawn a line. But when Amanda started staying out even later, when she stopped pretending altogether, stopped caring that I noticed the lipstick on her collar that wasn't hers, I stopped caring, too. One night, Emily and I sat in my car outside a diner. Rain tapped against the windshield, soft and steady. She doesn't deserve you, Emily said. She doesn't even see me anymore. We sat there in the quiet. Then she looked at me, really looked. You ever think about just disappearing for a while? I half laughed. All the time. Then she said it. Just like that. Let's go to Vegas. I stared at her. You're serious? She nodded. No one would know. Just a weekend. No drama. No explanations. Just you and me. Somewhere loud and anonymous. I should have said no. I was still married. Still hopeful, maybe. Still clinging to the version of Amanda that existed in my memory, not the one texting strangers at midnight. But what I said was, when do we leave? And that's how it started. Not with betrayal, not with sex, not with revenge. With a question, a spark, a reason to feel seen again. Vegas wasn't the plan. Vegas was the escape hatch. And I had no idea just how far down the hole I was about to fall. We drove through the desert like fugitives from a life that had quietly collapsed behind us. Emily rode shotgun, feet on the dashboard, sunglasses on even though the sun had long since dipped below the horizon. The soft hum of the highway filled the silence between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was necessary. Like we both knew if we spoke too soon, the spell would break. I kept thinking this had to be a mistake. That I'd wake up in my bed beside Amanda, the smell of coffee drifting from the kitchen, her humming some stupid pop song while she cooked eggs. That this would all fade like a weird dream. But the miles kept ticking by. Vegas was getting closer. Do you think she even cares? I asked. Emily didn't look at me. She just smirked. About what? That I'm gone. She finally turned, her voice soft now. She didn't even notice you were there. There was no cruelty in her tone, just truth. And maybe that's what hurt the most. We checked into a mid-tier hotel off the strip. Nothing flashy, just anonymous. 2 separate beds. No assumptions. Emily made that part clear. She wasn't trying to start something. She was just tired of pretending her sister was someone worth defending. The first night, we didn't gamble, didn't drink much. We just walked. Lights flickered above us. Music spilled from every corner. Laughter from strangers echoed in the air. The chaos around us made it easier to be quiet. We found ourselves on a rooftop bar by midnight. She leaned on the railing, wind tugging at her hair, and said, "She used to be kind, you know?" I nodded. So did I. She looked at me then, really looked. You're still kind. You just stopped being a doormat. I don't know if it was the way she said it, or the way she looked at me like I wasn't invisible, but something cracked open in my chest. That night, we didn't kiss. We didn't even touch. We just talked until the sun crept up over the mountains, painting the city gold. And for the first time in months, I felt human again. The second night was different. We drank more than we should have, laughed louder than we meant to. At one point, I saw Emily watching a couple across the room, her expression unreadable. Jealous. I joked. She shook her head. No, just sad. That's what I thought love looked like when I was little. My sister and I used to talk about it all the time, the kind of men we'd marry. I never thought she'd become this. I wanted to say something comforting. Instead, I said what I felt. I think she stopped believing in love the second it required effort. Emily's eyes flicked to mine. And you? I shrugged. I never stopped. I just started wondering if it was only supposed to hurt. We sat in silence for a while. Then she stood up, held out her hand. Come on. I want to dance. We danced like people who knew they weren't supposed to. Not because of guilt, but because of timing. Because life had made a mess of things, and we'd simply stumbled into the wreckage. She leaned into me, her head on my shoulder, her breath warm against my neck. I felt her fingers slide through mine, slow and deliberate. Then, just before the music stopped, she whispered, "You do excite me." It wasn't a confession. It was a revelation. Back in the room, she kissed me. Soft, careful, like she was giving me the option to stop her. I didn't. I kissed her back, not because I wanted revenge, not because I needed validation, but because, for the first time in years, I felt wanted. And when we finally lay beside each other, tangled in silence, she said, "You're not what she made you believe you are." The next morning, I woke up to find her already dressed, sitting by the window. "I think I have to go back," she said, not looking at me. I nodded, throat tight. "To Amanda?" She shook her head. "No, just back. To reality. I needed to know I wasn't crazy for thinking you deserved better. But if I stay, it'll get messy. You need to end things properly. For you." She kissed my forehead, tender, sisterly almost, and walked out the door. No drama. No promises. Just closure. I sat there in that cheap hotel room, staring at the spot she'd just left. I thought about Amanda, about everything we built and everything she broke. And I realized something simple and terrifying. I didn't want to go back. I didn't tell Amanda I was coming back. Didn't text, didn't call. I just walked through the front door of the house we once called home and felt the echo of a life that had moved on without me. Her heels were by the door. Her purse, that overpriced one I bought last Christmas, was tossed carelessly on the couch. There were 2 wine glasses in the sink. I stood there in the silence, gripping the edge of the counter like it might keep me upright. She came down the stairs a few minutes later, wrapped in a robe, mascara smudged, looking less like the woman who used to light up rooms and more like someone pretending not to panic. "Oh," she said, adjusting her robe like modesty mattered now. "You're back." "I live here," I said simply. She blinked. "Well, I didn't know when." "Doesn't matter." She walked to the kitchen, back turned to me. "Look, about what I said before. You meant it." She paused. I was frustrated. "I didn't mean it like that. You've been distant, too." That's when I laughed. Not loud. Just that sharp, breathless kind of laugh that comes when someone tries to rewrite history while you're still holding the receipt. "I've been here. Every day. You just stopped seeing me." She turned. "So what? You ran off to punish me." "No," I said, steady. I ran off because I was finally tired of trying to matter to someone who already made up her mind. There was a beat of silence. Then she asked, too casually, "Where did you go?" "Vegas." Her eyes narrowed. "Alone?" I didn't answer. She set her glass down. "Was Emily with you?" Still, I said nothing. And that's when the anger started to bubble. Not because she was hurt, but because she realized she might have lost control. Amanda was always the conductor, the one who managed appearances, shaped the story. "Wow," she said, voice low. "So you slept with my sister to get back at me?" I looked her in the eyes. "I didn't go looking for anything. I left because you told me I was invisible. She just happened to see me." She scoffed. "She always wanted what I had." I stepped closer. "Then maybe you shouldn't have taken it for granted." Her face flushed. "You're unbelievable. This is emotional cheating. You were married." I almost said something cruel, but I stopped myself. I wasn't here for revenge. I wasn't here for a fight. I was here for one thing: the end. "I came back to pack my things," I said. She flinched. "That's it. That's all that's left." She followed me upstairs, standing in the doorway while I pulled shirts off hangers and stuffed them into a duffel. She didn't cry, didn't beg, just stood there, like maybe if she said nothing, she could control the silence. "You'll regret this," she said quietly. "No," I replied. "I regret not doing it sooner." On my way out, I passed the hallway mirror, the one she insisted we buy to brighten the space. I caught my reflection. I looked older, worn out, but there was something else. Calm. Freedom doesn't always look like a celebration. Sometimes it's just closing a door behind you and knowing you'll never walk back through it. That was a year ago. Emily and I didn't start dating right away. In fact, we didn't talk for weeks after Vegas. I think we both needed to be sure we weren't just picking up the pieces of each other's brokenness. But then one day, I sent her a postcard, just a picture of that rooftop bar where we danced. No words. She called 2 days later. Now, we live on the edge of a small town 3 states away. No one here knows the story. We grow tomatoes. We argue over which movies to watch. We take walks at night and hold hands like it's the first time, every time. Sometimes people ask how we met. We smile and say, it's a long story. But the truth is simpler. She said I didn't excite her anymore. So I left. And in leaving, I found someone who didn't need fireworks to feel alive, just honesty, just effort, just me. I never looked back. And not once have I wished I had.